Hello, Busters. Welcome back to this week's edition of the President's Desk. As always, excited to be able to bring you an introspective and a look into some of our employees to get a better understanding of who they are, really what gained them their passion and their love for what they do, and learn a little bit more about their background as well. This week, excited to be able to have the chance to visit with Perla Salazar, math instructor, and really just an overall joy to be able to have here on campus and in the classroom. So welcome, Perla.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the honor and hosting me. It'll be exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, math instructor, but definitely a lot of other roles and things you play. You run our Bridges program, the STEM program that we have, and then just newly elected into the Faculty Senate President role there as well.
Yes.
So just very engaged and involved in a lot of different aspects across campus.
Yes, a lot of different hats, but I'm very happy to be here and to get involved. I really enjoy being involved with just the college overall, my coworkers, my students, with everybody. I'm also part of the SLAT team, so I get to work on assessment here and there and give a little bit of my opinion in that side of the world too.
Absolutely.
Yep. A little bit of everything.
Well, I mean, having a chance to know you there just in the time that you've been here at Garden City Community College, definitely know that you have a love and a passion for students and a love and passion for the work and the profession that you're in. But, for those of us listening that may not know Perla Salazar, talk to us a little bit just about your background, but then also what led into your love for teaching, for math, and kind of moved you into that direction.
Well, I think my love of mathematics really started in middle school. I was born in Mexico. I grew up in Mexico. I went to school there. And so, and I actually grew up in the West Coast. So when my parents decided to move to Southwest Kansas, it was a big shock. There was no more seafood. 20 years ago, there was not as much seafood as we have now. Garden City has now grown so much, so it's not such a shock nowadays, but 20 years ago it was a big shock. And so moving to Southwest Kansas, it was very different. Just the overall community was different, and then going to school was really hard. I did not know the language, so none of my classes, I was not able to succeed in any of them except for math class. I knew that language. Right. So I didn't understand the teacher or what she was saying, but when she would put her problems on the board, I could do them. So I really liked that class because it was the only one where I did not feel like a failure. Every other class was just a struggle. And so eventually I picked up the language and I was able to succeed on everything. But by that time, I already felt really good about doing math. And so I just kept taking math for fun. I know when you graduate from high school, you only need, I think, 3 credits to get your diploma. But I took 5, almost 6, because I did dual credit, just because I was good at it, because it was the one that I understood. It was the one that I was making connections with. And so the more that I did, the more that I could see that mathematics is a wonderful tool and all the awesome things that it can do. So it started just because it was the one I understood, and then it went to, it can do so much. When I was in my university career, I was able to see how powerful it was, just how useful it is. I was able to do research under applied mathematics as well as pure mathematics. And so I really got to see just how powerful it was. And I did decide against continuing. I actually went to high school and middle school here in Kansas, and then I went to a community college and transferred to a 4-year institution. So I graduated from K-State and then went on to Fort Hays State. And I decided that I didn't want to keep going in the PhD route because I saw my instructors, my professors, and I didn't really like that path. And so I started to think, what can I do with this math background? I really do like the math, and I had the chance to see how it applied and how you can use it in industry. But I really didn't like that. That didn't call me either. I really liked being able to talk to people and make connections. And so I wanted to do something where I could show everybody how awesome and powerful this tool is and still build connections and have those relationships. And so teaching was really a wonderful thing. It was like, I get to talk to people and they have to listen to me. No, they get to listen to me about mathematics, and I can show them how awesome it is. And I started by teaching at the high school, so I started very, very low, which is also difficult because you have to think about how to convey this information that came so easily to me. Like, oh, it was easy to me, I can do this. But now I have to think outside the box. But my goal was always, like I said, I myself went to a community college and I went to university and I worked on my master's. So I had seen all the different levels, and I had a strong relationship with that community college experience. It was my favorite 2 years of education. So I always wanted to go back to that. So even though I was teaching at the high school, I was always looking out and seeing, is there an opening at Garden City Community College? Can I go back there? Because I did want to, that's another thing. When I went to K-State, I was able to travel and go to different universities. But I always wanted to come back to Southwest Kansas. I fell in love with Southwest Kansas. I really enjoyed, as a student, being in the community college level. And so I wanted to see that, and I have not been disappointed. It has been equally exciting, and I absolutely love being here.
You know, you can see the excitement that you have, and definitely walking up and down the hallways in the Faust, Math and Science building. You can hear the excitement when you're up in front of the classroom and you're teaching and you're engaging with those students. You witness that firsthand, and so I think, one, you've definitely been a difference maker in the eyes of really being able to help break down what potentially could be a difficult subject to some, and being able to help break down that subject material there to where it is easy to understand. So
I love the subject, just math and science. So it is great to have a building all to ourselves. At the high school, we were all together, but in the math and science, we get to rule and just keep saying the math rocks or science rocks. So it is exciting to have.
It's a great group. It's
yes,
a fun group.
It's a fun group.
So, going back when you said you had started teaching at the USD, and then, the position that came open here to transition to the community college to teach. And the time frame that you've been here and and the role that you've been in, talk to us, what do you see as the best thing about Garden City Community College? What drew you to wanting to work here and teach at Garden City Community College?
So I think my nostalgia drew me to wanting to work at a community college. And so I was just always looking for that. But being here, I can't imagine going anywhere else. I know things change and the world moves on, but being here has just been amazing. I really appreciate the people I work with, and I absolutely enjoy my students. I love making those connections. Like I said, teaching was a way to make relationships with people and to also communicate how amazing mathematics is. Just the awesomeness of factoring and finding quadratic equations and solving them and graphing them. So it was great to do that. But I think just the people is what has made this job amazing. The students and my coworkers, my bosses. I love working with Nicole Dick, and all the wonderful faculty in the Math and Science building. I mean, it's just the people. I feel like the people is what make the community college a community. So I just enjoy being here.
I'm going to shift gears here a little bit. Back in March, COVID hits. We make a transition in just a matter of days to going online and doing remote learning. Now we fast forward and we move into the fall semester, and I really want to kind of get your sense through your lens as a faculty member of a lot of the changes and the protocols and the things that have been put into place there for us to transition back to face-to-face. But also just a lot of the things, I don't know that we truly understand from a faculty perspective the amount of work and time and effort that's gone in to be able to have all the different modes of learning.
Yeah, so that's one of the cool things about the teaching profession. It is never constant. People say that, you can teach it once and then you'll know how to do it. I understand the material and I know how to do it, but the teaching part is different every single semester, and it couldn't be more true nowadays. It really went from, we're used to, face-to-face or other modalities that we usually have, but it went to online so fast that we all had to learn so much, and it is a learning being a faculty member is always, you're always learning something new, you're always trying something new, but we really did all have to try something very new to everybody. So it was a huge workload. We were very lucky that it was spring break, and then administration gave us another week. So we did have some time to get our minds wrapped around this, but it was a big change. And I know not just me, but a lot of people struggled with just learning the new technology. The goal was always the same. How do I make my students understand mathematics? How do I get them to still learn the subject and do what they would have gotten anyways, but in a new way? And what are the new tools? And so I do always get excited about trying new stuff. It has really kept faculty on their toes. And I know that we have been flexible. I know you've said this before and you've said it to many people, but faculty have really had to be flexible just to learn the different things. Every semester since last spring has been different. And so the workload has increased. But I know that the goal was always the same. What do we need to do to make sure that our students get what they need to master the subject? I mean, it really has been workload on everybody, every level, but I think we're doing good, and I think we're all trying to meet that same goal. What do we need to do so that students get what they need, and the students can learn that subject that they need to get whatever degree they're working towards? So,
what's some advice or guidance maybe that you can provide to students to help them prepare for being successful at Garden City Community College?
I think the biggest advice I can say is to communicate, because communication goes along with that flexibility. Just prepare to not know something, but also be willing to ask. Communicate if you're afraid of something, communicate if you have doubt, just communication. Those lines of communication help us be flexible. They help us help the students. They help us help each other. And so I feel like that goes for everybody, for a new prospective student, for a student that's already here, for employees with each other, for the community even. Just everybody needs to be more willing to communicate and be honest, especially in math. If you don't know something, you really have to let me know, because I'm just gonna, if nobody has a question, I'm gonna assume that everybody got it and we're gonna move on, and math builds on itself. So if you don't communicate those struggles, then later on you're gonna be like, what is she talking about? I have no idea what she's talking about. So I feel like I tell that to my students in the classroom all the time. Communication is a big thing, but I feel like it applies to all levels. I feel like if we have communication, we can have that flexibility to help each other out.
Appreciate you joining us there today. It's been great to get to know you a little bit more and hear your take on things there as well.